What is up, everyone? Welcome back. Check in. Back in. A couple days ago, did a video, kind of went on a little bit of a rant about minor league coaching and things of that sort. Want to kind of dive in a little bit more about partner league baseball, what encompasses partner league baseball, why it's important, why it's probably going to be a lot bigger than people understand here in the next 5 years as Major League Baseball continues to find ways to cut down certain aspects of the minor leagues. And listen, I don't feel one way or the other about it. It's the business of the game. It's business in general. I know people get super sensitive about that and that conversation, it's sports. No, it's a business, and like in any other business, if things aren't profitable, you eliminate those things within the business. And is it always fair? No, but nor is life. And you weren't born with the promise that life is fair. So that's just my 2 cents about it. To educate some of those out there that are watching this, again, this is my YouTube channel. Nobody knows that I have this YouTube channel. I don't promote it. I don't tell my friends, my family. So if you're watching this, you probably don't know who I am. My name is Craig Maddox, 13-year professional player. 10 of those were spent in independent and or partner leagues. As a catcher, I transitioned out of playing into coaching, coached with the San Francisco Giants, then transitioned into managing, and now currently manage in a Major League Partner League in Billings, Montana for the Billings Mustangs, which I love. It is the perfect job for me, especially at this point in my life. So to educate you a little bit on partner league baseball, there are 4 partner leagues in the country, and that being the Atlantic League, the American Association, the Frontier League, and the Pioneer League. It is debatable how you rank those. I've had plenty of conversations with plenty of people, and you can argue until your face is blue about the competition level and where these leagues rank and where they stack up. But I'll give you my opinion, and the opinion has changed over the course of probably the last 5 to 6 years as some of these leagues have morphed and changed. Experience-wise and number of years spent in professional baseball, the Atlantic League takes the cake. And it has always been the league that has more guys with AA, AAA, and big league experience in the league. The reason why that is because the Atlantic League has no roster regulations or years of service requirements for people in those leagues. So, for example, in the American Association, there are roster rules. You are required to have X number of rookies, meaning guys with less than probably 2 years of service time. Then you're only allowed, then there's LS1, LS2, LS3, LS4, LS5, and then a veteran. And you're only allowed to have so many veterans. I'm not exactly sure now. I think when I played in the American Association, I think it was 2 or 3. It might be up to 5 now. So that means guys with 5+ years or 6+ years of playing experience, and all of that's calculated by number of at-bats or innings pitched as a pitcher, starter, or reliever, or games played. The Atlantic League has, for the most part, always been the most experienced league, it is being heavily challenged by the American Association. The American Association, in my personal opinion, when it comes to housing players that have more experience, is really coming after the Atlantic League hard. And they are, because their commissioner of their league is an awesome guy. I know him a little bit, not on a super personal level, but I have met him. But I can see from afar and from somebody who's been in the industry for a very long time that he is very progressive, forward-thinking, he is actively trying to make the league better in all facets. And that is what you need from a league president, a league commissioner, is somebody who thinks in those capacities. So I wouldn't be surprised in the next 2 to 3 years if the American Association, in the minds of most, doesn't really pass up the Atlantic League. The Atlantic League has kind of stood on their podium for a very long time, not thinking anybody was going to come debunk them. But the American Association, in my opinion, is making a very strong push. And the reason they're making a strong push is because the Atlantic League has expanded, and it's not as interesting to older players now because of the distance you have to travel to play teams. It used to be 10 years ago, the Atlantic League was very small when it came to travel, right? So Southern Maryland, there was a team in Sugar Land, but you flew there and that was like a cool getaway trip. But the majority of the league was Southern Maryland was the most southern, okay, so Waldorf, Maryland, and then the most north team was the New Britain Bees. So your max travel was 6 hours, 6.5 hours, which it wasn't terrible, but a lot of your travel, say from Southern Maryland to York, Pennsylvania, or Lancaster, Pennsylvania, was very manageable. I mean, it was 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours max, right? So very appealing to older players who have either been in the big leagues or been in AAA, who want to play competitive baseball but don't want the 10, 11, 12-hour bus rides. Now that the Atlantic League has expanded more south, where they're getting into North Carolina and they've gotten into Kentucky, so now the league has spread out so much that it basically has become what the American Association is, and the American Association spans from Winnipeg all the way down to Cleburne, Texas, and all in between the Midwest. So the travel is significant in the American Association, but that's why I think that the American Association is going to get to a point where they're so forward-thinking and active in social media and how they promote their league that it's becoming a lot more appealing to these players that are getting released from major league organizations. So that's my stance. I would say probably at this point in 2025 going into 2026, the Atlantic League does take a slight advantage over the American Association just in experience of the players. On to the Frontier League. The Frontier League and the Pioneer League are the other two. They are catered to the younger demographic of players, so the players that get drafted and they spend years in the lower levels of the minor leagues, maybe get a cup of coffee in AA. That is where those leagues really thrive. The Frontier League has their roster limitations. They're able to get more veteran guys in the Pioneer League. That's where a lot of people come in and they say that the Frontier League is better. I mean, better, what is the word better? I don't know. more experience, probably because of the roster rules and the limitations, but I would say competitively, and I'm biased because I manage in the Pioneer League, I would say that the Pioneer League and the Frontier League are very, 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 very close in competition level and standards across the league. The Pioneer League is definitely catered more to the younger player, the guy who went undrafted out of college, the guy who, got drafted in the 20th round, or a non-drafted free agent sign who didn't get a shot, right? And still wants to play and still is a very good player. The league rules are changing for the Pioneer League. I'm not divulging any information that's not known, but in the Pioneer League, they have eliminated the complex league as counting as years of service, which is going to elevate the Pioneer League, in my opinion, over the next 2 to 3 years past the Frontier League. The Pioneer League pays better overall than the Frontier League. The travel is better in the Pioneer League. And, the Pioneer League towns, in my opinion, are better. The weather is better, especially in Montana, where we're at, in Billings. It is absolutely the best place to play in the summer. And I've been all over. I've played in the American Association. I've played in the Atlantic League. I have not played in the Frontier League, so I cannot speak 100% to that. But definitely think the Pioneer League should be a focused destination for players who fit the league requirements to play in the Pioneer League. Like, if you're a player out there and you're a free agent, you should heavily, heavily, heavily look into the Pioneer League. The competition level is outstanding. The travel is great. The organizations overall are fantastic. It is a huge advantage for you and for your career. And a lot of guys, especially on the West Coast, they don't want to go to, Kentucky or New Jersey or New York or Pennsylvania all summer. Like, they want to stay on the West Coast. So there is a heavy influence of West Coast players in the Pioneer League. So it's massively beneficial for those players to play there. The Pioneer League as well, when you're talking about partner leagues, so all these guys are basically playing free agents. So they can have their contract purchased at any time from any major league club. The Pioneer League, there is a buyout, right? So the Pioneer League is the cheapest buyout out of any of the partner leagues. So that's another selling point of the Pioneer League, is if a major league organization is going to purchase your contract and take the risk, because there is a risk involved of purchasing a contract of the player, it is more enticing for them to say, yes, we will spend X amount of dollars, because it is a few $1,000s less to take a chance on this player that went undrafted or has just been released from another organization, versus we're going to pay X for this player that meets the same criteria. So that is something that we hold as an advantage, I think, in the Pioneer League. And again, this is not a sales thing for the Pioneer League. There's a lot of people that evaluate Partner League baseball on the internet, and they do a great job, but there's nobody that's actually in it, that lives it, that can give you real life examples and give you a true opinion of it better than, honestly, me. I've lived it. Again, I've played in the American Association, the Atlantic League. I've managed in the Pioneer League. So out of the 4 partner league teams, I've been in 3 of the 4. So that's a pretty good representation and understanding of how the system works and how things work. So that's the general overview of what partner league baseball is. I'm going to do a deep dive into each of the partner leagues, break down all their teams, break down the benefits of playing in that league, and just give you guys information, because as this gets out to people and free agents, if you see these videos, like, I want this to be an information source for you for partner league baseball, because it is going to be a massive thing moving forward as Major League Baseball continues to cut down, and they are going to continue to cut down. I will tell you this, we will go into that in another video. They are going to continue to cut down minor league teams. It is going to elevate the play of partner league baseball, and it is also going to become increasingly hard to get a job in partner league baseball. So stay tuned for all that. I'm excited to share that. I have a wealth of knowledge in it, and it is all going to come to you in a series of videos. So thanks for tuning in. Catch you on the next one.